Welcome back to Sport Lab. Tottenham Hotspur live to fight another day in Europe. A tense, gritty 1-0 win over Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany has booked their place in the Europa League semi-finals, with Dominic Solanke's cool penalty sending Spurs through on a soggy, dramatic night in Frankfurt. Let's break down the action, the chaos, and what this means for Spurs' season.
At Frankfurt, and they'll hurt you. I just think if Tottenham defend well, they could beat anybody, and I think it showed tonight.
And the motivation for these Spurs players to go on and win this, Les, they don't want to be part of the worst season for a generation. They could go on to become heroes if they win a European Cup.
We heard Van der Ven speaking in his interview earlier on, saying that they want something special. They want to be the team that brings a cup to Spurs. And you look at the quality of that squad, and there's some very good players in that squad. They've just not all gelled. Like we said, we spoke about the injuries they've had this season, but as well, there's been some poor performances in the team as well. So it was great for them today. It all clicked, and we know when it clicks, this is a very good Spurs side, and they're very, very difficult to beat. And we'll probably talk about this later on, but they had some good opportunities from corners as well to get a second goal. So it wasn't just the fact that they came out and defended in the second half. They still had opportunities which they weren't able to take. But it was a really good performance today.
It was certainly a good performance from Dominic Solanke as well. He got the goal that proved to be the winner for Spurs, but he put in such a shift out there as well. And we can hear from him with Jeff Brazier.
Dom, congratulations. Was that the result of the performance deserved?
Yeah, I think so. Over the two legs, I think at home it was great. Probably should have won the game at home, but we knew it was going to be a difficult game today. They're obviously a top side, tough stadium to come to as well, but yeah, obviously we got the job done.
I think we've got to talk about the penalty, but first of all, the incident that made the penalty. Was there ever any doubt that it was a penalty, and also Maddison's bravery?
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a penalty. I don't know why it took so long, but yeah, Maddis was a great run from him, great bravery to get there before the keeper as well. And yeah, unfortunately, had to come off, but we managed to get a goal from it.
Is there a sense of deserving from you, the amount of work rate you put into the team? I'm sure that's the first thing that the manager will say, but do you feel like you deserved that goal?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a few games without one now, so yeah, to get one in a game like this, yeah, it was worth the wait.
Step closer to silverware now. You're obviously into the semi-final. How far can this team go?
Yeah, I think it's been something we've been looking forward to the whole season, really. Being back in Europe, from the start of the season, we wanted to win the thing, and obviously we're a step closer now, so yeah, hopefully we can do it.
The manager's taken some criticism recently, but that kind of performance, very much an Ange performance. Is that the best way to respond to the critics?
Yeah, of course. I think obviously we haven't had the best of seasons in the Premier League this year, but ultimately we want to win trophies, and we got a good chance of doing that this year with this cup. So like I said, hopefully we can go on to win it.
How big a difference does it make to have Romero and Van der Ven at the back?
Yeah, obviously two great world-class centre-backs, and yeah, when you have players like that at the back, obviously helps us. We miss them a lot of the season, so to have them back at a critical point like this is yeah, key.
Buda and Lazio has gone to extra time. How much are you looking forward to the semi-final?
Yeah, obviously playing in semi-finals is what we dream of, really. We want to play in big games. So yeah, we'll definitely be looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Dom. Cheers. Thank you.
Spot on the performance from Spurs tonight. Les, did you feel the way they approached it and the way they delivered? Yeah,
we was a little bit concerned that they wouldn't be able to put in that sort of like defensive performance and they'd go gung-ho again, but they didn't. They rode their luck at times, but I thought they were good from the start, and they didn't press as I thought they were going to press, allowed them to come on to them, caught them on the counter-attack a few times, and I thought first half got the penalty. And from then on, they looked quite comfortable. And as I said, could have probably had one or two more goals. But did the job and did what they had to do. Didn't have to be pretty. Didn't have to go out there, go gung-ho and sort of like go all out attack. They just bided their time, and I thought it was a good team performance tonight.
How significant has it been that they've been able to play that back five, including Vicario, for both legs, Owen? Because it hasn't happened often enough this season.
No, I mean, and that's probably been the only bright spot, is the fact that because of all the injuries that they've had, Bagba and Archie Gray have been able to play so much and play so well. But actually having those guys back, though, have been brilliant, that back five. They make a huge difference. And again, I don't think you can win without having defence wins championships. That's a fact. and they got the best defence back in there, and I think it showed today. So credit to the players, they hung in there when it was hard, and that's how football is. You got to have it when you need, you got to hang in when it's hard, and they did that today. They can be really proud, because I think when you've had a season when it's so hard, it can be hard to kind of see the positive. Today it was just pure positives. Keep clean sheets. The boys at the top of the pitch, Les knows he's got 1,000,000 goals. They'll win you the game.
And the way they handled such a fiery atmosphere as well, they can be so proud of that. We can get some more reaction from the stadium out in Frankfurt, because Glenn Hoddle is still there and he's alongside Sam Matterface.
Yeah, and I think he's buzzing as much as Ange Postecoglou is buzzing at this moment in time, aren't you, Glenn? I mean, it was a terrific performance, and Lindsay's absolutely right. The atmosphere in here throughout the course of the entire evening was absolutely ear-splitting. What can it do for this team, the fact that they've managed to come and produce a performance like that in these circumstances?
Well, it's going to give them a bunch of confidence, you know. It really is. Keeps the season going, which is so important. But tonight, they deserved everything they got. I thought they were excellent with the way they started the game, and then they quelled the game in the middle part of the game. They just took control of the ball, created a few chances, defended well. And that was the thing, the way they defended. And if they defend like that, this team can go somewhere. It's about the defence with Tottenham. First clean sheet for so many games. At the end of the day, they've got the players on the pitch, actually, that can create it at the last third and the attacking third. If they defend like that, and they defend as a team together, and they're tightly knit, and there was no gaps there, the channels where the fullbacks are, they weren't on tonight. They were plugged. Those holes were plugged. Normally it's easy to get in down the sides of the centre-backs at Tottenham. They weren't there for Frankfurt tonight, and they were excellent with the ball and without the ball tonight, and it just shows you what sort of performance they can put in under immense pressure.
Yeah, it shows the value of having all of those four main line defenders available tonight, and it's not very often that Ange Postecoglou has been able to do that. It's only the second time since the beginning of December that he's had those four of Porro, Van der Ven, Romero and Udogie able to play from the start of a game. And it's a team that is designed around that back four, isn't it, with those inverted fullbacks and those speedy defenders. So the value of them together can't be underestimated.
No, without a doubt, and they look solid. And you've got to add Spence to that. Spencer's come in and he can play either side, right back or left back. So that's a real plus as well, to put somebody on like that, or start a game with that back four with Spence involved. That's still, you're not going to go down in your defensive duties. But at the end of the day, Tottenham tonight, we didn't see them passing in the 6-yard box. Most goal kicks were played long, and they still got enough possession, just enough possession in that second half to actually still hurt them, still make sure that they played in Frankfurt's half as well, so that you can get possession different ways. And I think you haven't got to play in front of your own 6-yard box all the time. They hardly done it tonight, yet they've won the game, and they've controlled major parts of that game, and they dug in deep when they needed to dig in. They defended stoutly at the end, didn't they?
Yeah, well, there was a degree of maturity about the performance from Tottenham Hotspur tonight, which has been missing at times over the course of the season. And those long-suffering Spurs fans that have travelled so often to European destinations far and wide and gone home disappointed, absolutely thrilled by the result this season.
Thank you very much to Sam and Glenn. We just lost the sound there from the Frankfurt Stadium, but the guys really enjoyed soaking up that atmosphere this evening, I am sure. And that was one of the most impressive things tonight, Les, the way they handled that, because it was certainly fiery and intimidating at times. Yeah,
we spoke about it was one of the most intimidating places you can go to, and you know, they haven't lost in Europe all season at home, so it was always going to be a tough game for Spurs. You know, one of the things that me and Owen did look at was, and which helped Spurs, was you looked at the bench as well, and you just felt really confident that this was a group of players. No matter what happened, you could make changes that could change the way Tottenham were playing, and they could have a go. We see Maddison go off, Kulusevski come on, and you know what a great substitute for, you know, losing someone like Maddison. They all played their part today, and I think, you know, as a team, as a group, they'll be very proud of what they did tonight.
And he hasn't had the luxury of doing that too often this season, has he? But Ange Postecoglou's promise of always delivering silverware in his second season is still on track as Spurs reach the semi-finals. Let's hear from the Spurs boss now. He's with Jeff.
Ange, was that almost the perfect away performance?
It was good. Look, you know what you're up against, away leg in a quarter-final of a European competition, top side that you're playing against, and we had to work hard, we had to defend, we had to be well organised, we had to have our clean moments going the other way, which we did, and yeah, couldn't be prouder of the lads. You know, we earned the right to be in the semi-final. I think over the 2 legs we deserved to go through, and super proud of the players.
I have to mention Dom Solanke, obviously a composed penalty, but that wasn't his only contribution tonight, was it?
No, he was awesome, and you know, I know people sort of look at his goal contributions, but what he does for this team is unbelievable, and the whole team today I thought just worked awfully hard, and you know that's what you have to do away from home in Europe, especially in the knockout rounds. You know, if you can keep clean sheets, you know, be disciplined, and like I said, we were always a threat going the other way. You know, credit to all the lads.
You asked for bravery before the game. A lot of players could have pulled out of a challenge like that. James Maddison obviously earned the pen that wins you the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Courage personified, and you know, Matters. You know, he's been working so hard for this team, and you know, tonight he was he copped the whack, which you know, he's a bit sore with, but I'm sure he would take that, knowing that we've gone through.
Having Van der Ven and Romero at the... Were you watching the celebrations? Yeah. So having Van der Ven and Romero at the back, it shows you what's possible with them 2 fit, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, it's easy to sort of be disregarding of the issues we've had this year with injuries, but, you know, they're a big part of what we do, and having them two and Vic and the whole back four was magnificent today. They had to be Ekitike's a top striker, and I thought they did it awfully well in holding him because, you know, you only need to let him go for a minute, you know.
Lots to be pleased about tonight. What are you most proud of?
Just the togetherness of the lads. Fair to say there's been a fair bit of noise around the team, but you wouldn't know it in camp. They've just been so focused on us, you know, achieving what we want to, and, you know, super proud of them.
Fans deserve a performance like that?
Absolutely. Travelling fans were brilliant tonight. Hopefully they enjoy it, and they deserve it. You know, our fans have been through a tough time also this year, and, you know, we understand their disappointment, but hopefully this just gives them something to look forward to.
You've been under a bit of scrutiny. Was it great to win a game playing your way? Will that shut a few up, do you think?
Oh, I doubt it. I said yesterday, I'm the same coach today that I was yesterday, and my pleasure comes from just seeing this group of players rewarded, because they're the ones, you know, they've never lost belief. The staff and the players haven't, whatever the noise has been outside, and just super proud of them.
Is this a good time to remind people you always win, say, in your second year?
No, look, I'll leave that, you know, people like to mock and they like to ridicule and diminish my achievements. That's fine. I'll just keep doing what I do.
So, Buda Glimt or Lazio, obviously next, we don't know who in the semi-final. Right, might be them. Special season still on the cards?
Absolutely. You're in the Final Four, you know. It's a semi-final of a European competition. Even for this club with its famous history, you're not often there, so we want to make sure we put our best foot forward.
Great stuff, Ange. Thank you.
Thanks,
Well, Ange Postecoglou, I think a bit hoarse there after the celebrations. He said that people like to mock and ridicule his achievements. Les, do you think he does get unfair criticism?
I think, Lynn, some of the things that he says and some of the things that he's done, you know, people are going to criticise, people are going to jump on. We're great in this country. If you're someone that comes out and says, and you're confident, you says I win and I do this and I do that, people will always remind you of it. You know what he's got to understand, and people are going to criticise this Tottenham team at the start of the season. We're absolutely fantastic. We were all waxing lyrical about how great they're playing. They set a standard of performance that people want to see. As a support, you go to the stadium, you've set a standard. No one else. These players have set a standard. The manager and this group of players have set a standard of football. And they've fallen well below that at times this season. And if you do that, people are going to complain. People are going to, you know, demand, because they've seen what you can perform. And some people are going to complain. And he, as a manager, he will know that better than anybody else. He's been a player, he's been a manager, and he understands. You set a standard, and if you fall below those standards, people will start to complain, and that's what's happened this season.
But you have to give him the respect, and the way he has stuck to his principles.
Big time. I think it's hard. I think it's really hard, but, you know, before, after the game, you always have to do these interviews, press conferences. You know, it's easy when you're winning, but when you're not winning, I think it's really hard, and at times you can probably say too much. And I think, obviously, the fact he said he always wins in his second year, you know, people aren't going to forget that, are they?
But he was asked a question.
No, and he's right. Do you know what I like about him?
He answered the question honestly and said, it's just a fact. It is what he has achieved.
And I think that's a really good point. They ask him any question and he always answers, which is a credit to him. But I think that can be tricky when you're not winning games and you're 15th and you've lost 17 games in the Premier League. But to hang in there like he has now, to this point, that will mean so much to him and the players. If they can win this trophy, and get into the Champions League, it just changes everything for him. So
I think the trophy would do, even without the Champions League for Spurs fans, to be honest with you.
And you're right, obviously they want to be up there, they want to be challenging, and it's, even if they get into the Champions League this way, people ain't going to forget the performances this season that have had them in 15th position in the league. That's just unacceptable for Tottenham. And if you're at Tottenham, I think he as a manager understands that. And like we said, we've spoken about all the different reasons why. But at the end of the day, Tottenham sitting in 15th, as a manager, you're going to get criticised for that.
But does he deserve that time, another season, to be judged fairly, starting off with a fit squad, hopefully, and keeping the majority of them fit for most of the season to see what he can do?
I've been a fan of his throughout most of the season, and I've been one of the people that said, look, what Tottenham are doing at the moment seems like a project. And if it's a project in terms of buying the younger players and bringing in, you need someone to be given time to mature that project and make that project develop. Now, you need to be given time, but then you have to see those players improving. And it's gone the other way for Ange this season in terms of going backwards instead of forwards, and that's why you're getting the complaints. But if he wins this trophy, then he needs to be given the opportunity to go again next season.
Have we seen, though, that maybe entertaining football clearly isn't always enough to keep the fans happy? It doesn't have to be entertaining.
Can I jump in there? I played in one of the best entertaining teams in this country at one stage, and we didn't win anything. We were great. We entertained people up and down the country. We was everybody's second favourite team, but we didn't win anything.
You weren't my second favourite team.
We was a lot of people's second favourite team, not yours, Linz. I know we was your first, right? But yeah, I'm saying, we people love the way we entertain, but at the end of the day, we didn't win anything. And you can entertain as much as you want, but as supporters, you want to see people win things.
Thing is, as well, Linz, there's no pictures on the trophy.
Yeah.
Just find a way to get the job done. There's no stats on the trophy. Just find a way to get.
Congratulations, Ange. You must be delighted with the maturity of your team tonight.
Yeah, I'm delighted with many things, and super proud of the lads. Look, you're playing away from home, quarter-final against a very good side. You're going to have to work really hard and be well organised and disciplined, and also, we needed to score tonight, so we needed to show the quality we have as well. And to a man, I just thought they were outstanding. So proud of them that in such a big game, they delivered a performance that means we're through to the semi-final. And I think over the two legs, I think we deserve to go through. Tie could well have been over in the first leg, but again, we've earned the right to be in the semi. Gary.
After a difficult season with injuries, etc., do you kind of have a sixth sense that Tottenham's name might be on this trophy?
No, I don't think that way. But from our perspective, look, we've had a difficult season. I think there's some reasoning behind that which was pretty evident tonight. That when we got our strongest team out there, a lot of the things that we've sort of suffered with this year, I'm sure we wouldn't have, because the spine of our team, at times Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, Bentancur, Solanke, like these guys, we were missing all of them at different times this year. And when we've got the whole group, and it's not just them, it's the whole group together, we know that we can be a team that's pretty compelling against anybody. And we're in the final four now, so we give ourselves a chance. Jay.
Hi, Ange. Congratulations. I saw you walk down the tunnel at the end of the game with your arm around James Maddison. Just want to check in on how he's doing after what happened.
Yeah, he's fine. Unbelievable courage in that moment, to put his body on the line, knowing full well he was going to, couple of pretty severe knock. I mean, I was surprised it wasn't a red card, but yeah, super courageous from him. And look, he's sore, but I'm sure that's all been numbed, knowing that you know, he's helped us progress to a semi.
Matt. Hello, Ange. I was going to ask you about that as well. Are you warming to VAR tonight? Are you pleased with the intervention, or are you still a bit cross that it wasn't a red card?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, we can be a bit sort of facetious about that, Matt, but I thought it was a clear penalty. I'm not sure why it needed VAR. I mean, when a player wins the ball and it gets cleaned up, if that was a defender, it would definitely be probably a red card. Now, it's a goalkeeper, so maybe, but it's definitely a penalty. I don't think it needed a review. So, again, I think we got what we deserved.
George.
Hi, and congratulations. You've always had belief in this squad and this team, but I'm guessing you probably couldn't say really strongly, you know, to everyone you're going to win the Europa League before this two ties. How much confidence do you have in this squad now to go all the way and deliver what the fans have wanted for so long?
Well, look, I mean, I think, you know, we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. You know, we're in the semi-final, and you know, we're going to have a difficult opponent in the semi. But it's not about my belief in the team. I think what's more important is the belief the team's had. You know, because after a season like ours, it would be very easy for the players and the staff to, you know, I've said before, you know, that they could have left me in a pretty vulnerable place in terms of, you know, them splintering at any. But I've never felt that, you know, with all the noise around the, you know, our season. You know, they've been so united in believing in what we're trying to achieve here, and that's what gave me heart all along. That, you know, if we got our own little bit of slice of luck in terms of just getting some players back, that, you know, I really believed that this team, you know, could achieve, and that's what, you know, keeps driving me. It's not so much my belief in them; it's their belief in what we're doing, and both, you know, and the players and staff have just been outstanding. Like I said, you know, I'm the front man for it, but, you know, they take responsibility for it as well, for all my decisions and everything I do. But not at any stage have I felt that they've lost any belief in me or what we're doing, and that's just crucial when you're having a difficult season. But there's also a season of opportunity there.
Ryan's finish, please.
Hi, Ange. Congratulations. I just wanted to ask about your own kind of personal feelings. Obviously, it's no secret it's been a tough season, and coming into this game, it must have been quite tough having to deal with all the noise. So to win in the manner in which you did, how are you kind of feeling? Is there relief, or?
I think I said yesterday, I'm the same manager today that I was yesterday. So if people think that us winning tonight makes me a better manager, whoever didn't think I was doing a good job yesterday should be feeling the same way today. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect what I do. For me, it's always about the dressing room, you know. Do the players believe? Do the staff believe? That's much more important than what others may, you know, make of me. So, unfortunately for a lot of you, you're going to have to put up with me for a little bit longer, mate. So we'll just see how that goes. All right, thank you
very much.
It wasn't pretty, it wasn't dominant, but Tottenham did what mattered most: they survived. Coming into the second leg tied 1-1, Spurs knew they couldn't waste chances like they did in North London. And for large spells, it looked like they might crumble. Frankfurt dominated possession and pushed Spurs deep, especially after James Maddison went off injured just before the break. But before that, Maddison won a crucial penalty after being clatted by keeper Caio Santos. Referee David Massa originally waved play on, but VAR stepped in, and rightly so. After a review, penalty awarded, Santos booked, and Solanke, ice in his veins, sent the keeper the wrong way with a calm strike right down the middle. That was all Spurs needed. Second half, hanging on. With Maddison off and Frankfurt throwing everything forward, it was about grit, structure, and survival. Spurs looked shaky at times but had their moments too. Christian Romero and Rodrigo Bentancur both went close from corners, and on the counter, Matthijs Telephone and Kulusevski asked questions. The heroics weren't just in attack, though. Guglielmo Vicario came up massive late on with a point-blank leg save to deny Fairs Chabi, and Mickey van der Ven made a potentially season-saving tackle to stop Ekitike in the first half. The turning point, Maddison's sacrifice. The penalty was the literal difference, but Maddison's bravery set the tone. He took the hit, stayed on to help Spurs hold out, and only limped off in stoppage time. It was that level of commitment, something that's been missing from Spurs far too often this season, that made the difference tonight. This was the most mature, resilient performance we've seen from Postecoglou's team in months. And it couldn't have come at a more vital time. What's next? Tottenham now head to the Europa League semi-finals, just their third in 44 years. They'll face either Lazio or Bodo Glimt, with a potential first trophy since 2008 suddenly within reach. For a side that's struggled in the league and with questions surrounding Postecoglou's future, this run might just be the lifeline Spurs need to salvage their season. So Spurs fans, what did you make of tonight's performance? Can this be the start of something special, or is it just a brief flicker of hope in a tough season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to SportLab for all your football analysis, match breakdowns, and more. We'll see you in the semis.